Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in the world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Porn News Today Live meets IRL 24/7 Live. I'm your hostess, Alexandra. And today we're going to go over some additional details about a situation as of recent that has finally come to a close. We're going to go over additional details about a porn star, former porn star known as Bobbi Dylan's associate, Donny Long, aka Donald Carlos Sion, being charged with human trafficking, amongst other things. I'm going to go ahead and just read over this article again, just as a review. Many of you who follow me on my official YouTube channel and whatnot, you saw me get a little wild last night because I was celebrating over this. This has been a situation that has negatively impacted my life for over a decade. It's a situation that's negatively impacted hundreds of people's lives over a decade. And what's important to note when it comes to Donald Carlos Sion, aka Donny Long, is that though he has been in hiding and has finally been brought to justice, he has several associates who do need to be named and identified so that the public is aware of them and so that hopefully they too take legal accountability for their assistance, their promotion of him, their assisting him, their association with him, them helping him move forward with his incredibly dangerous and criminal agendas. So let me just go ahead and read through this article again, and then we'll get into the new material. This is an article from avian.com. Former porn star Donny Long charged with human trafficking. And those of you who are listening live, at the end of this presentation, I will open the chat, but not until then. Long, whose legal name is Donald Carlos Sion, was charged with state felonies and is being held in Osceola County Jail with bond set at $57,500. The charges include human trafficking, coercion of a commercial sex act, forced labor services, harassing a witness or victim, attempting to extort a judge or magistrate, and threats of harassment against a judge. According to the warrant executed on November 29th, Long was going through a divorce and threatened the domestic law judge. He's accused of non-consensually producing a video with another woman when she stayed in a trailer park in Florida. Long posted the video to OnlyFans after threatening the woman that if she didn't participate, he'd react negatively against her. In 2019, Bang Bros acquired Porn WikiLeaks and made a public showing by burning the hard drives that featured the records of thousands of doxed performers and their real names. The Daily Beast called Long, insultingly, the Julian Assange of porn. Long's Porn WikiLeaks was instrumental in doxing performers who were exploited by the Girls Do Porn sex trafficking scheme. Michael Pratt, the former owner of Girls Do Porn, was charged with human trafficking and the distribution of child pornography. He was briefly named on the Federal Bureau of Investigation's most wanted list, along with terrorists and white collar criminals. All right, so that's the article I went over yesterday. Now we're going to go back in time a little bit. We're going to go back in history to when to about the time that Porn WikiLeaks was brought down, and this was around the time that Bobbi Dylan, aka Jennifer Katz, most likely realized that her association with Donny Long was not going to put her in a positive light. So, on the public stage, she was trying to act as though she was against Porn WikiLeaks, but in actuality, she benefited greatly from Porn WikiLeaks. In fact, she went as far as to sell a lot of her peers in the adult entertainment industry's personal and private information. All right. She was doing this in the Las Vegas area. So this was something that one of the operators of Porn WikiLeaks had to say about her. They also had control of a website known as Adult FYI at that point in time. They put the headline, PWL, in other words, Porn WikiLeaks ally. Bobbi Dylan, aka Jennifer Katz, pretends to celebrate Porn WikiLeaks coming down. And I'll go ahead and read that aloud to you since the print is fairly small. Let me blow it up. Bobbi Dylan is a huge phony. She put out celebratory tweets when news came out about Bang Brothers shutting down Porn WikiLeaks. It wasn't a real secret that Bobbi Dylan was a Porn WikiLeaks ally, which began because of her frequent ownage of Tompkins. Tompkins is another blogger in the adult industry, Sean Tompkins, aka TRPWL. Her enemies, like Billy Boston, often ended up in unflattering Porn WikiLeaks stories, and that was no accident. She also used her influence to get Porn WikiLeaks to not talk about people that she likes. A recent example is when Porn WikiLeaks talked about communist foreigner Gustavo Turner. Bobbi went to bat for that lowlife with Porn WikiLeaks. Time to drop the act, Bobbi. And it's important to note that today, Bobbi is known as Just Jen within the IRL online communities, IP2 affiliated communities especially. And what's interesting about Bobbi Dylan, aka Jennifer Katz, is that not too unlike that article that was written September 4th of 2019 that I just read today, which is about 4 years later, she is still behind the scenes in various online communities, prompting people who have platforms to go after her enemies. She's doing the same right now with a public figure known as James Metallo, aka Q, a very mentally unstable man, not too unlike Donald Carlosian. In fact, there's a lot of traits and qualities that are very similar between Donald Carlosian and James Metallo, aka Q, when I really think about it. A lot of commonalities between the two men. But as of current, Jennifer Katz is influencing Metallo to go after people that she doesn't like. But I'll tell you what's really interesting about this Donny Long, Donald Carlosian human trafficking news story. It's a really good thing that someone had the presence of mind not to include him within the IP2 network or the IP2 community. And I'm going to show you why. Because if somebody had pretty much everything and anything linked to the IP2 community would be under intense scrutiny by the FBI. And it still might be. It just might be. Take a look at this. All right. This is a screenshot from not too many years ago, probably around 2021, where Bobbi attempting to recruit Donny Long into the IP2 community. Here it is. She used to be known as NOUFGT within the IP2 community forum. And this is a post that she wrote under an item that was featuring Donny Long. And she specifically notes, yeah, we've talked a bit. He's dealt with Alex, meaning me, for a while now. He's definitely pretty based AF, which means quote unquote as fuck. I don't know if y'all are ready for Donny Long. But you see, Jennifer Katz has been a promoter and supporter of and endorser of and ally of Donny Long for many years. Many years. Of course, she'll say that she wasn't. because she's a very good liar. But she absolutely was. And there's an enemy of Donny Long, in fact, that at one point in time she dated and even lived with, who she wanted dead because he does know the truth about her. And you know who she was trying to recruit in order to get rid of him? And this particular enemy of Donny Long not only was her boyfriend, but somebody who helped get her into the world of escorting. She wanted Ski Mask Andy, of all people, to go to this particular man who she's dated house or home in Los Angeles to assault, if not kill him. He told me the story, and I got back to him, meaning Ski Mask Andy, about this situation, and I let him know that after conversing with a friend of mine about what he told me, she was definitely trying to get him to do something that probably would have landed him in a lot more trouble than he's in right now. In fact, it really is to Jennifer Katz's best interest, when I really think about it, to keep Ski Mask Andy locked up, because he knows the truth about her too. I can understand in a lot of ways why she's gone to great lengths, along with her mother, to ensure that there's a constant legal smear campaign against Ski Mask Andy, specifically because of her request to go after an enemy of Donny Long. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into the latest material when it comes to all of this. Let's get into the latest material. Just give me one moment. All right, here we are. Donny Long, aka Donald Trunk, aka Donald Sion, arrested for Judge Holly Darenthal. So let me go ahead and bring up an enlargement of this. Make sure I'm on the right slide. All right. Donny Long, aka Donald Trunk, aka proclaimed porn god Donald Carlos Sion, aka Donald C. Sion, has abandoned vicious and formidable cyber threater offensives against the porn industry. What we have here now is perhaps finality, with Donny clobbering Osceola County, Florida family court judge Holly Darenthal and her family, and Sheriff Marcos Lopez. Holly Darenthal versus Donny Long. Step into the ring of your life. Donny is arrested and held in county jail after claiming that Judge Holly Darenthal and the local county sheriff conspired to ruin him and hold his children in a legal battle. The judge appears to have made a few phone calls to a small town's county sheriff in D.C., who appeared to have sided with Long, still resulting in Donny Long's arrest. The bitter long battle began with a jury trial where Donald C. Sion was found not guilty. That's right, Donny beat a jury trial. A jury of his peers agreed with him. One count was for alleged human trafficking charge. Long was found not guilty of all charges. Then came the shitstorm. The series of drummed up charges and collaboration of Judge Holly Darenthal and Sheriff Marcos Lopez below. All right, so the charges are extort or threaten another person, harass a judge, assist or assistant coercion or intimidation, coercion of a commercial sex activity, and tamper with or withhold test. Okay. So this was the website, it appears, that he put together in order to go after this person. Okay. Donny Long was elevated to fame by none other than a sick fanboy, Dan Prigota, not known for telling the truth, making fake news videos, right down to using fake dollars in hit piece videos. We have reached out to Dan for comment. He is not returning calls. Dan blocked us on Twitter. We are ready to publish text messages of him harassing young female porn stars, awaiting his comment or him calling us liars. One text thread included a talent begging him to remove her from his fake news nonsense ragtag video. Brave girl. Dan ignored her desperate plea. Yeah, this guy. Okay. I know who they're talking about. This is an interview from approximately 2011 when Donny was not a household name. And keep in mind, this article I'm reading is from MikeSouth.com. Okay. Dan could be heard here so excited at the misery of epic doxing of adult stars. All right, let's go to the next. Mr. Prigota, ever so delighted to perpetuate the misery of over 15,000 individuals doxed on the now debunked porn WikiLeaks, thanks to Bang Bros website. So that's gone. But see, what is important for me to interject and note about all this is that extortionists and people who were selling information, namely people who were selling the information that they were able to attain from porn WikiLeaks, people like Just Jen, aka Bobbi Dylan. That's really what the real problem was when it comes to that website. I was actually part of the team that helped to bring down that website, and when I just look at a lot of the activity that Miss Katz has attached herself to today, I have a feeling that it won't be very long until she's behind bars, not too unlike her child's father, but probably for a much longer time than her child's father. Let's continue. Listen to what Dan's obsession is. Into 640 of this interview, we learn what is so fascinating to Dan Prigota. He just loves to whoremonger. Donny Long was made famous by the likes of a wannabe minion. Is it at its end? Thanks, Dan. You are great. By the way, stop harassing struggling sex workers by texting, flirting, and fishing to write down known BS stories. Okay. I remember this Dan Prigota guy. I don't think I need to read all of this, but if you all want to look at it, it's in entirety. You can over on MikeSouth.com. Will this be the start of a whole new war when Donny leaves his cell? What's next when Long leaves a cell confinement? Could there be conditions never to have his fingers on a keyboard? Can Donny leave the country and all this becomes a repeat of the past again? And it's important to note that Donny Long definitely was overseas in Southeast Asia for a long time. That's where he met one of his wives and had a couple children with her. But it does appear that he married another girl recently. So let's go ahead and look at some of these court filings when it comes to Donny Long. I think that would be a good idea. Let's start with this one. Let's see. I need to make it bigger so I can see it. All right, here we go. All right, this is the affidavit for arrest warrant. This is the state of Florida versus Donald Carlos Sion. I'll go ahead and read this to all of you. Come now, the affiant detective J. Atkins, 2209, a sworn law enforcement officer, to witness a deputy for the sheriff. Okay, I don't need to read all that. That's the first part. Okay, this all has to do with human trafficking. Okay. Your affiant, in the course of her official duties, has come to investigate. I'll just read the main text. On Wednesday, November 29th, 2023, the Osceola Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant at, and then they put the address, During this search warrant, Donald Carlos Sion was arrested for his active arrest warrant. Donald's blank and minor child were also at this location at the search warrant. During the course of this search warrant, I asked blank, and that's who he was living with or married to at the time, if she would be willing to come to the Osceola County Sheriff's Office for an interview. Blank agreed to return to the Osceola Sheriff's Office, and her son and her were taken to the Osceola Sheriff's Office. Once at the Osceola Sheriff's Office, I interviewed blank about the incident involving Donald and the reason he was arrested. Blank covered her ears and said she did not wish to hear any more about Donald and his past because she was tired of it. During the interview, Blank explained Donald and her have made home porn videos for money as a source of income to different websites on the internet. I asked Blank if she wanted to do this, and she said to have sex with Donald, yes, but no to posting them on the internet. Donald told Blank if she did not do this, she would be bad and bad things could happen. And it is important to note that the woman that he married from Thailand, she was known as Heather Deep. It's questionable as to whether or not she was even of age when he got with her. All right. He has a history of going after girls who either are or who appear extremely young. Okay. Part of the reason that some people say that he went to Thailand is because it's pretty common for a lot of the street workers to be what's considered underage in the United States of America. Blank said Donald had made videos like these before wife, his current wife. I think that was miswritten there. Who he's in the middle of divorcing by posting her all over the internet and making false accusations against her. Blank said, let's see, where are we? Blank said Donald has done this several times to include the current one he is doing this to, Judge Darenthal. Blank said Donald has done worse and will do worse to her if she does not make and post these sex videos to the internet. Blank was very clear she did not want to be on the internet but was forced to by Donald. Donald used coercion and made Blank fear he would post about her family, friends, and children on the internet, as she has seen him do to several other people. And something else that just came to mind that I do want to note when it comes to Bobbi Dylan, aka Just Jen. This is something that kind of got lost in the shuffle when it comes to the drama between Ski Mask Andy and Bobbi Dylan when it comes to, them being together, allegedly having a child together and whatnot. But at one point in time, she did commit the act of revenge porn against him. And it's interesting to me that she never got in trouble for that. She recorded and uploaded without Ski Mask Andy, aka David DeCou's consent, a video of them having sex. He did not know that that thing was going to be distributed online. And I kind of think that due to him basically going for help about that matter to some people that he felt maybe could get that video taken down, she did retaliate against him. After I do this video, I am going to put out some more information about Bobbi Dylan, aka Just Jen, because I'll tell you, a lot of the tactics that she uses today are tactics that directly reflect what Donald Carlos Sion used to do. She probably learned a lot from him when I really think about it. She probably did. But it's just important that all of you do understand that without a doubt there is a connection between the two. All right, let's continue reading this. Blank also said the money they were paid went into her checking account, but Donald would hold both of their credit or debit cards, as well as Blank's immigration card. Blank said Donald would yell and scream at Blank, meaning her, when she would try and refuse to make or post the videos. And Blank said she would get tired of the fighting and yelling and just give in to the demands by Donald. Blank said she recently posted a sex video onto an OnlyFans.com page that Donald created for them to use. Blank said she told Donald she was going to leave him if he made her post the video, and then Donald took her ID, debit cards, credit cards, and her wallet to try to keep her from leaving. Donald would even make jokes when he would hear Blank talk to him, and he would say, "What are you going?" He would say, "What, you going to run away? If I have your stuff, you can't go." So basically, he was holding this woman hostage. Blank said she stays in constant fear of Donald and what he will do if she doesn't post or make the sex videos or if she was to run away. Blank also said at this time it was their only source of income, and she said Donald has forced her to make over 100 sex videos and post them to the internet. When I asked what types of sex tapes, Blank said it was of Donald and her having sex at their residence. When I asked the current residents within Osceola County, she said yes, and the prior ones. Blank said prior to moving into their current residence, Donald and she lived together at Boggy Creek Fish Camp. I asked Blank if she knew some of the websites Donald has made her post on or sites Donald has posted on. Blank says she knows for sure on OnlyFans, account name Blank. The other websites are Pornhub and Blank said was Expedia. The last time she made a video was in November of 2022. All right. Blank said she met Donald in June of 2022, and since he was able to get Blank fired from her last employer, then forced her into the sex industry to provide him with an income. Based on this information, any person who knowingly or reckless disregard of the facts engages in human trafficking or attempts to engage in human trafficking or benefits financially by receiving anything of value from participation in a venture that has subjected a person to human trafficking by using coercion for commercial sexual activity of an adult. Coercion is restraining, isolating, or confining, or threatening to restrain, isolate, or confine any person without lawful authority against against her or his will. Based on Donald making Blank go everywhere with him, even if he is at the house making his videos, he makes Blank sit next to him and watch him as he calls of his work, as well as Donald keeping Blank debit cards and identification to keep her with him. Based on this, I believe there is probable cause to believe Donald Carlos Sion violated FSS 787.06-3B human trafficking. At this time, I am submitting an arrest warrant for the arrest of Donald Carlos Sion for human trafficking. All right, so that's the end of that. That's the end of that. All right, now we can look at this part here. But again, I do want all of you to keep in mind that situation involving that sex video being posted without Deku, aka Ski Mask Andy's consent, on whatever website it was not too long ago. And she did want him to go after one of this man's enemies. She sure did. All right, let's take a look at this. All right, so this is the arrest warrant. Let's see, when was this issued? Shows you the court case and whatnot. And it's specifically for human trafficking was issued November 29th of 2023. All right. So I guess last we'll just take a look at this article here. And again, probably another day, I will delve a bit into the history of Bobbi Dylan, aka Just Jen, aka Jennifer Katz, because there's just some things that I think people need to be aware of when it comes to her. All right, let me bring this one up. Last night, a couple of performers called out C-list talent Bobbi Dylan. According to them, Bobbi has been selling, trading performers' personal information to fans, from real names to locations. And this was written in December of 2016. According to one performer, a Snapchat fan confirmed that Bobbi gave the fan her family's address and real phone number. Bobbi allegedly took it a step further and told the fan, based on information Bobbi had, that the performer was only, quote, 5 minutes away from him, end quote. Huh. You know, there was a rumor for a while that this girl was attempting to start an escort agency. And it is interesting that the man that she did want Ski Mask Andy to confront physically and physically harm, if not kill, it's interesting that that particular man was very involved in the escort trade. Very interesting. Using the information allegedly obtained from Bobbi Dylan, the fan then reached out to the performer and asked if he could come pick her up. So the person tweets, "So sick of my number, driver's license, and my location being shared with fans by a performer in exchange for money." It really does sound like she was trying to be a facilitator. Definitely, definitely does. Now, I'm still waiting to talk to the fan in question. To me, this is serious. Real names is one thing. That shit can be found relatively easily nowadays. But giving some stranger the real-time location of someone is pretty effed up. There's a reason why Bobbi is on her fifth agency in 12 months. Hopefully, Sandra can knock some sense into her. More to come. And there's a lot of information that you can find in regards to her history over on therealpornwikileaks.com. Um, this is very interesting when it comes to a bit of her past. She did go after people specifically with children and would go as far as to post photos of people's children when she had issue with the parents of said children. She's done a lot over the years. There's a lot. But mainly, I just want it known that this particular girl, not only does she utilize the same tactics as this man, but she worked with him. She was associated with him. She tried to promote him on the IP2 network. She tried. I think that whoever runs that network was smart enough to look into this man and realize that if that network had promoted him, if they had listened to Just Jen, aka NOUFGT, aka Bobbi Dylan, quite a few people today would probably be in a jail cell, not too unlike him. Um, there's a lot that we really do need to look into when it comes to her. There's a whole lot. So I guess what I'll do now is wrap things up. I will go ahead and turn on the chat just to see if anyone has anything to say. Let's go ahead and do that right now. And I'm just going to mute the mic over here. And if anyone has any questions, I'll respond. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and get going. I do appreciate those of you who joined this live stream tonight to listen to the information that needed to be presented. Most likely, the next stream that we do will revolve specifically around Bobbi Dylan, aka Jennifer Katz, and a few things that she's been involved with over the years that she definitely likely needs to be held legally accountable for. So take care. Have a good night. Bye bye.